The red emergency lights flashed across every screen in Earth's Space Command Center. It was just another quiet Tuesday morning until the massive alien ship appeared out of nowhere, hanging in orbit like a wounded giant. "Sir, we're picking up a distress signal," said Jack, the young radar operator. His fingers moved quickly across the control panel as more data streamed in. "It's not like anything we've seen before." Colonel Mike Parker walked over to the main screen, his coffee cup still steaming in his hand. The ship on the display was enormous, at least 3 times the size of Earth's largest space station. Its silver hull sparkled in the sunlight, but even from this distance, they could see that something was wrong. The ship's rear section pulsed with an unstable blue light. "Get me a translation of that signal," Parker ordered. The AI systems worked quickly, and soon a clear message played through the command center speakers. "This is the Commonwealth vessel Star Wanderer. Our quantum drive has suffered critical failure. We require immediate assistance. Any civilized worlds receiving this message, please respond." Parker raised his eyebrows at the word civilized. Even in their time of need, these aliens couldn't help but sound a little superior. Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 5 years ago, while the Commonwealth had been crossing galaxies for centuries. "Open a channel," Parker said. After a brief static burst, a holographic image appeared. The alien captain looked like a tall, thin crystal formation that caught and reflected light in beautiful patterns. These were the famous crystal pilots of the Commonwealth, known across the galaxy for their natural ability to navigate quantum space. "This is Earth Space Command responding to your distress call. I'm Colonel Parker. How can we assist?" The crystal being's lights flickered in what seemed like surprise. "Earth, the newly spacefaring world. We appreciate your response, but our quantum drive requires advanced knowledge to repair. Perhaps you could relay our message to more established worlds." Parker smiled. He'd been waiting for a chance like this. "Actually, we have some of the best mechanics in this sector of space. The Arizona shipyards are just 3 hours from your position." The alien captain's crystals dimmed slightly. "Our own engineers have declared the damage theoretically impossible to repair. The quantum matrix has developed fractures that defy our understanding. We appreciate your offer, but—" "Let us at least take a look," Parker interrupted. "You've got nothing to lose." There was a long pause. The crystal being seemed to shimmer in thought. "Very well. We accept your offer of inspection, though we maintain little hope." Parker didn't waste any time. He grabbed his phone and made a call. "Tom, get your team ready. You've got a big job coming in." At the Arizona shipyards, Tom Miller was already watching the alien ships approach on the massive display screens. He was a man in his 50s with rough hands and a face that showed years of solving impossible problems. His team of mechanics gathered around him, their eyes wide with excitement. "Look at the size of that thing," whispered Bill, Tom's youngest mechanic. "What if we can't fix it?" Tom grinned as he grabbed his toolbox. "Son, there's no such thing as unfixable. Everything's got moving parts, and everything that moves can be fixed. Doesn't matter if it was made on Earth or the other side of the galaxy." The alien ship slowly descended into Earth's atmosphere, guided by the shipyard's tractor beams. Its massive hull blocked out the sun as it settled into the largest repair dock. Steam hissed from its vents, and the unstable blue light from its engines cast strange shadows across the facility. As Tom led his team toward the ship's main airlock, he felt that familiar excitement in his gut. It was the same feeling he'd had as a kid, fixing his first broken radio. Some people saw machines as just metal and wires, but Tom saw puzzles waiting to be solved. The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss. A group of crystal beings waited inside, their forms glittering with what looked like concern and doubt. Tom adjusted his tool belt and smiled. "All right, folks, let's see what kind of problem we've got here." The greatest repair job in human history was about to begin. The inside of the alien ship was like nothing Tom and his team had ever seen. The corridors glowed with a soft blue light, and the walls seemed to pulse with energy. Bill whistled softly as they followed their crystal guide deeper into the ship. "I am lead engineer Whitecore," the crystal being said, its voice creating musical echoes in the hallway. "Though I must warn you, what you're about to see has baffled our finest minds." Tom nodded, his toolbox feeling heavy in his hand. The team passed several alien crew members, each one stopping to stare at the humans with what seemed like a mixture of curiosity and doubt. Some even made soft chiming sounds that might have been laughter. They entered the main engine room, and Tom immediately understood why the aliens were worried. The quantum drive was massive, filling a chamber the size of a football field. Blue energy crackled around its core in irregular patterns, and parts of the machinery were making sounds that any mechanic knew meant trouble. "The quantum matrix is destabilizing," Whitecore explained, projecting complex holographic diagrams into the air. "Our calculations show that repair is impossible without completely rebuilding the drive, which would take years." Tom walked around the drive, his experienced eyes taking in every detail. He noticed something familiar about the way the machinery was laid out. "You know what this reminds me of?" he said to Bill. "My old Chevy engine. Different tech, same basic principle." The aliens made sounds like tinkling glass, their version of confused murmuring. "Impossible," said another crystal being, introducing itself as High Engineer Clearpoint. "This is quantum technology. It manipulates the fabric of space-time. It cannot be compared to your primitive combustion engines." Tom pulled out his tablet and started taking readings. "Everything's got basics," he said calmly. "Even quantum drives need cooling systems, power distribution, and moving parts. And anything that moves can break, and can be fixed." He walked closer to the drive's outer casing, noticing something that the aliens, with their focus on quantum mechanics, had missed. There were tiny stress patterns in the metal, almost invisible unless you'd spent decades looking for exactly this kind of problem. "Bill, hand me the sonic analyzer," Tom called out. The young mechanic quickly passed him a device they'd developed at the shipyard. It was simple compared to alien tech, but it was perfect for finding material stress points. The aliens watched with what seemed like embarrassment as Tom used his primitive tool. The device beeped, confirming his suspicions. "Here's your problem," Tom said, pointing to a section of the drive's cooling system. "You've got microfractures in the containment housing. The quantum field is leaking into the cooling system, creating a feedback loop. It's just like when a radiator crack causes engine overheating." The crystal beings clustered around the area he indicated, their forms glowing brighter with surprise. "But our sensors showed nothing wrong with the cooling system," Whitecore protested. "That's because you were looking for quantum problems," Tom explained. "Sometimes the biggest issues come from the simplest parts. These fractures are so small they're almost invisible, but they're spreading. Your quantum field is incredibly powerful, but it's the regular old metal housing that's letting you down." Bill grinned. "Just like that time we fixed the governor's hover car when all his fancy computers said it was dead." Clearpoint's crystals dimmed slightly. "Even if you are correct, these materials are specially engineered. They cannot be repaired with Earth technology." Tom pulled out his datapad and started sketching a repair plan. "Maybe not with our materials alone," he said, "but if we combine your quantum-resistant alloys with our Earth manufacturing techniques." He showed them his design. The aliens studied it, their crystals flickering rapidly as they communicated among themselves. Finally, Whitecore turned to Tom. "Your approach is unorthodox," the alien engineer admitted, "but we are without other options. You may proceed with your repair attempt." Tom nodded to his team. "All right, folks, let's get to work. Bill, call the shipyard. Tell them we need the portable forge and the new nano-welding rig." He turned to the aliens. "And we'll need access to your material fabricators." As his team sprang into action, Tom smiled. Sometimes the best solutions came from combining the old with the new, the simple with the complex. The aliens were about to learn that human ingenuity could solve problems that even their advanced technology couldn't handle alone. The next 12 hours aboard the Star Wanderer were unlike anything the human repair team had ever experienced. While the crystal aliens hovered nervously around their quantum computers, running endless simulations, Tom and his team got their hands dirty with the real work. "Pass me the magnetic probe," Tom called out from inside an access tunnel. It was wedged into a space meant for maintenance drones, not humans, but sometimes you had to get up close to really understand a problem. Bill handed him the tool through the narrow opening. The deeper they looked, the more problems they found. The microfractures weren't just in one section. They had spread throughout the cooling system like a spider's web. Tom's tablet was filled with readings and measurements that told the story the aliens had missed. "It's like watching dominoes fall," he explained to Whitecore, who hovered nearby, crystals dimming and brightening with worry. These fractures started small, probably from normal wear and tear, but because nobody spotted them early, they spread. Each crack created a tiny quantum leak, which made more cracks and so on. Clearpoint projected a hologram of their latest simulation. "But our calculations show." "Forget the calculations for a minute," Tom interrupted, pulling himself out of the access tunnel. His coveralls were stained with coolant, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "Look at this." He took a small piece of metal from his pocket, a sample he'd carefully removed from the cooling system. Under the ship's bright lights, the fractures were barely visible to the naked eye. But when he placed it under their portable microscope, the screen showed something fascinating. "See these patterns?" Tom pointed to the display. "Your quantum field didn't just crack the metal. It changed its crystal structure. That's why your repairs didn't hold. You were trying to fix quantum-altered metal with normal materials." The alien engineers clustered around the screen, their crystalline bodies creating a light show of reflected colors. For the first time, they seemed genuinely interested rather than just politely tolerant. "But how can we repair metal that has been quantum-altered?" Whitecore asked. "Our fabricators cannot reproduce this effect." Tom smiled and nodded to Bill, who pulled up their own analysis on a holographic display. "We don't need to reproduce it. We need to work with it. These altered sections are actually stronger than the original metal. They're just connected wrong. If we can realign the crystal structure." He trailed off as he noticed the aliens were making their chiming sound again. But this time, it wasn't dismissive. It was excited. They had finally understood what the humans were suggesting. "You want to use the quantum field itself as part of the repair." Clearpoint's voice was full of disbelief. That is crazy," Bill suggested with a grin. "Brilliant," Clearpoint finished. "We were so focused on shutting down the quantum field to make repairs, we never considered using it as a tool." Tom gathered his team around the main display. "Here's what we need to do. First, we'll use your fabricators to create a series of containment rings, but we'll make them flexible, not rigid. Then we'll install them in sections, using the quantum field's own energy to bond them to the altered metal." He pointed to different areas of the engine. "We'll need to work fast. Each section has to be done within minutes of the last, or the pattern won't hold. It's like welding underwater. Timing is everything." The crystal beings communicated among themselves in rapid flashes of light. Finally, Whitecore turned to Tom. "This plan, it goes against all our standard procedures," the alien engineer said. "But we can see the logic in your approach. What do you need from us?" Tom pulled up a list on his tablet. "We need access to your fabricators, direct control of the quantum field regulators, and," he grinned, "about 50 gallons of your strongest coffee. This is going to be a long night." As his team began preparing for the complex repair job ahead, Tom caught Bill staring at the quantum drive with a mix of fear and excitement. "Nervous?" Tom asked. "A little," Bill admitted. "If we're wrong about this." "We're not wrong," Tom said firmly. "Sometimes the best solutions are the ones nobody else would think to try. That's what makes us good at what we do." The repair of a lifetime was about to begin, and the whole galaxy was about to learn what human mechanics could really do. The fabrication bay of the Star Wanderer hummed with activity as human ingenuity met alien technology. Tom stood before the alien fabricator, a machine that could create almost anything from raw materials, watching as it produced the first of their specially designed containment rings. No, the metal needs to be more flexible, he said, adjusting the settings with careful precision. Think of it like a spring, not a brick. White core's crystals flickered with concern, but stronger materials would be more resistant to quantum effects. Sometimes, Tom replied, pulling out the fresh ring. You need to bend so you don't break. He demonstrated by slightly flexing the metal ring. See, when the quantum field pulses, this will flex with it instead of fighting against it. The alien engineers watched in fascination as the humans worked. Bill was at another station, modifying their Earth-made tools to work with the alien technology. He had stripped down their nano-welders and rebuilt them to handle the quantum-altered metal. It's like trying to nail jelly to a wall, Bill explained to a curious alien technician. You can't force quantum energy to stay put. You have to give it somewhere to go. Tom checked their progress on his tablet. They had fabricated 30 rings so far, each one slightly different to match the unique pattern of quantum damage in different sections of the engine. The humans had mapped out the damage like an old-fashioned mechanic would map engine trouble, not with complex equations, but with practical experience and careful observation. Ready for the test run? Tom asked his team. They had set up a small-scale model of the repair they planned to do on the main engine. Everyone gathered around the test chamber. Even the alien captain had come down to watch. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a wrench. Starting quantum field simulation, Bill announced. The test chamber hummed to life, generating a miniature version of the energy field that was causing so much trouble in the main engine. Tom carefully fitted one of their new containment rings around the test section. The metal began to glow softly as it interacted with the quantum field. This was the crucial moment. Would it hold, or would it fail like all the aliens' previous attempts? Field strength at 20%, Bill called out. 30%, 40%. The ring flexed slightly, exactly as Tom had designed it to do. Instead of trying to block the quantum energy, it channeled it, using the power to reinforce its own structure. 60%, 80%, full power. The test chamber filled with brilliant blue light. The aliens backed away, expecting another failure. But when the light faded, the containment ring was still there, humming softly as it maintained a perfect seal around the test section. The room erupted in a mixture of human cheers and alien chiming sounds. Impossible, Clearpoint whispered, crystals glowing brightly with excitement. You've achieved quantum containment with simple mechanical principles. Tom grinned as he checked the readings. Nothing's impossible. You just have to stop fighting against the problem and start working with it. He turned to his team. All right, folks, now comes the hard part. We need to scale this up to fix the main engine. The captain stepped forward, its crystalline form casting rainbow patterns on the walls. You understand this repair will risk the entire ship if it fails. Tom nodded seriously. Every great repair job comes with risks. But I trust my team, and I trust these principles. They haven't failed me in 30 years of fixing the unfixable. The captain seemed to consider this for a moment, its crystals pulsing with thought. Finally, it turned to white core. Begin preparations for the full repair. Give the humans whatever they need. As the team began gathering their equipment and moving towards the main engine room, Bill caught up with Tom. You really think we can pull this off on the big scale? Tom picked up one of the containment rings, feeling its perfect balance between strength and flexibility. Sometimes the biggest problems have the simplest solutions, kid. We just have to be brave enough to try them. The team headed for the engine room, ready to attempt the impossible. The real test was about to begin, And the future of human-alien relations might just depend on whether a bunch of Earth mechanics could really fix the unfixable. The main engine room of the Star Wanderer was bathed in the unstable blue light of the damaged quantum drive. Tom and his team stood before the massive engine, their specially designed containment rings laid out in precise order. This was the moment of truth. "Remember," Tom said to his team, checking their protective suits one last time, "we've got exactly 12 minutes once we start. After that, the quantum field becomes too unstable." He looked each of them in the eye. "Anyone wants to back out, now's the time." Nobody moved. They'd practiced the sequence 20 times on smaller sections. Now it was time for the real thing. "Beginning power reduction," White Core announced from the control station. The quantum field's angry blue glow dimmed slightly. "You have your 12 minutes, humans. After that, we must restore full power or risk total engine failure." Tom nodded to Bill. "Start the countdown. Team A, with me on the upper level. Team B, take the lower section. Move on my mark." The humans positioned themselves around the engine, each carrying their modified tools and the special containment rings. The aliens watched from behind protective barriers, their crystalline forms glittering with nervous energy. "Time starts now," Bill shouted. Tom moved with the speed and precision of decades of experience. He fitted the first containment ring around a severely damaged section of the cooling system. Activating quantum sync. Now. The ring began to glow as it made contact with the quantum field. This was the crucial moment. Would it hold like the test version, or fail catastrophically? The ring flexed, hummed, and then settled into place with a soft blue pulse. The quantum energy wasn't fighting against it. It was flowing through it, exactly as Tom had planned. "First ring stable," he called out. "Move to section 2. The repair teams worked with practiced precision. Each ring had to be placed in exact sequence, creating a pattern that would guide and contain the quantum field. It was like building a dam while the river was still flowing, but with energy that could tear apart space-time. 4 minutes gone, Bill warned. Sweat dripped down Tom's face inside his protective helmet. They were halfway done, but the quantum field was becoming more unstable. The engine's warning sounds grew louder. "Field fluctuation increasing," White Core reported, its voice tense. "The quantum matrix is approaching critical levels. Keep going," Tom ordered, fitting another ring into place. "The field's fighting harder because we're starting to contain it. That means it's working." Team B reported success from the lower level. The rings were creating a visible pattern now, glowing lines of controlled energy spreading across the engine's surface. 8 minutes, Bill called out. They were down to the last 3 rings. The quantum field surged suddenly, sending sparks of blue energy crackling through the air. One of the technicians stumbled, almost dropping a ring. "Steady." Tom caught the tech's arm. "Steady. We've got this." 10 minutes. 2 minutes remaining. The final rings had to be placed simultaneously to complete the pattern. Tom positioned himself by the last section. Teams in position. Ready. Now. All 3 final rings went into place at once. For a terrifying moment, the quantum field flared blindingly bright. Warning alarms screamed throughout the ship. The aliens began evacuating the observation area. Then, suddenly, everything went quiet. The quantum field pulsed once, twice, and settled into a steady, gentle blue glow. The containment rings hummed in perfect harmony, guiding the energy instead of fighting it. Field stability at 98%, White Core announced in disbelief. 99%, holding steady at 99.5%. The human repair team slumped in exhaustion, but they were grinning inside their helmets. Tom checked the readings on his tablet, confirming what he already knew in his gut. They'd done it. Clearpoint approached Tom, its crystals glowing with what could only be described as amazement. "In all my years of engineering, I have never seen anything like this. You didn't just repair the drive. You improved it." Tom pulled off his helmet, wiping sweat from his forehead. Sometimes the best solutions come from understanding the basics. All the quantum physics in the universe doesn't change the fact that everything that moves needs somewhere to move to. The impossible repair was complete. Human ingenuity had proven itself against one of the greatest engineering challenges in the galaxy. But as Tom looked at his tired but proud team, he knew this was just the beginning. 3 days after the repair, the Star Wanderer hung in orbit above Earth, preparing for its crucial test flight. The ship's engine room buzzed with a mixture of human and alien technicians running final checks. Tom stood at the main control panel, reviewing the quantum drive readings for the 100th time. All containment rings are working perfectly, Bill reported, his tablet displaying a sea of green status indicators. The quantum field is more stable than it's ever been. White core hovered nearby, its crystalline form pulsing with what the humans had learned was nervous excitement. "We will begin with a small power increment," the alien engineer said. 10% of normal operating capacity. The ship's captain had joined them for the test, along with several high-ranking Commonwealth officials who had arrived via emergency transport. None of them could quite believe that human mechanics had succeeded where their best quantum engineers had failed. "Beginning power-up sequence," White Core announced. Tom watched the readings climb. The containment rings glowed softly, flexing and adapting just as they had in the tests. The quantum field expanded smoothly within its new boundaries. 10% achieved, Clearpoint reported. All systems nominal. "Let's push it to 30%, Tom suggested. He could feel the engine's rhythm through the deck plates. It wasn't just working. It was working better than before. The aliens exchanged glances, their crystals flickering in rapid communication. Finally, the captain nodded. "Proceed." The engine's hum deepened as more power flowed through the quantum drive. Tom's repair team watched with proud smiles as their containment system handled the increased energy perfectly. 30% holding steady, White Core announced. "Field stability at 99.8%. That's higher than our original specifications." One of the Commonwealth officials stepped forward, their crystals glowing with intense blue light. "Impressive, but a working ship needs full power. Can your primitive solution handle that?" Tom met the official's glow with a steady gaze. "Why don't we find out? Take it to full power." The engine room fell silent. Even the alien technicians stopped their work to watch. This was the moment of truth. Would human engineering stand up to the full might of alien quantum technology? "Beginning full power sequence," White Core said. 40%, 50, 60. The containment rings began to sing, each one producing a different note as the quantum field pulsed through them. It wasn't the angry crackling of before. It was more like a well-tuned engine hitting its stride. 70%, 80, 90. Tom felt Bill grab his arm in excitement. The readings were better than any of them had dared to hope for. Full power achieved. The quantum drive roared to life, its energy field a perfect, steady blue. The containment rings glowed brightly but held firm, guiding the massive forces exactly where they needed to go. Field stability at 100%, Clearpoint announced in disbelief. Power efficiency increased by 12% over original specifications. This is unprecedented. The Commonwealth officials' crystals had changed from blue to a brilliant white, a sign of utmost respect in their culture. "It seems we have much to learn from Earth's mechanics after all." The captain turned to Tom. "We would like to test the quantum jump drive. Would you and your team care to accompany us on a short flight?" Tom looked at his team, seeing the excitement in their faces. None of them had ever been on a quantum jump before. "We'd be honored, Captain." The humans strapped into the observation deck as the Star Wanderer prepared for its jump. Through the viewport, they could see Earth growing smaller. Quantum jump in 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched into lines of light, and the ship leaked across space as smoothly as a luxury car on a freshly paved road. In that moment, human engineering had not just fixed the unfixable. It had improved it. Tom smiled as he watched his team's awestruck faces. Sometimes the best solutions came from the simplest places, and now the whole galaxy would know it. 6 months after the Star Wanderer's successful repair, the Arizona shipyards had become the busiest repair facility in this part of the galaxy. Tom stood at his office window, watching as 3 Commonwealth ships waited their turn in the newly constructed quantum maintenance bays. Another request just came in, Bill said, walking into the office with a holographic message floating above his tablet. A crystal liner from the Centauri sector. They heard about our containment ring design and want an upgrade. Tom smiled. The primitive repair technique that had saved the Star Wanderer had become the new standard across the Commonwealth fleet. Ships that received the human-designed containment system reported better efficiency and stability than ever before. "Did you see the latest from the Academy?" Bill asked, pulling up another report. The Commonwealth Engineering Academy, once skeptical of human methods, had created an entire department dedicated to studying what they called practical quantum mechanics. "They're still overthinking it," Tom chuckled, picking up an old wrench from his desk. "Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one." The door chimed, and Whitecore entered. The alien engineer had become a permanent liaison between Earth and the Commonwealth, and more importantly, a good friend. "The first class of Commonwealth engineers has completed their Earth mechanical training," Whitecore announced, crystals glowing with pride. "They've learned to work with their hands, not just their quantum computers." Tom nodded approvingly. The exchange program had been his idea. Commonwealth engineers coming to learn Earth's practical approach, while human mechanics learned about advanced alien technology. Both sides had so much to teach each other. "And how's the Star Wanderer doing?" Tom asked. The ship that had started it all held a special place in his heart. Whitecore's crystals sparkled with happiness. "Better than new. The captain says it's running smoother than any ship in the fleet. They've scheduled their yearly maintenance check here, of course. They won't trust anyone else." A commotion outside caught their attention. Through the window, they watched as a massive new ship descended from the clouds, unlike anything they'd seen before. Its hull was a perfect blend of Commonwealth and Earth design philosophies. "Ah," Whitecore said, "the prototype has arrived." Tom grinned. This was the project he was most proud of. The first ship built jointly by humans and the Commonwealth. It combined the best of both worlds. Advanced quantum technology with practical, reliable engineering. Hard to believe it all started with a broken-down ship and a desperate repair job, Bill mused. "Not that hard to believe," Tom replied. "Humans have always been good at fixing things. We just needed the chance to prove it on a bigger stage." The door chimed again. This time it was Colonel Parker, looking much more relaxed than that day 6 months ago when all this began. "Tom," he said, "the Commonwealth High Council just approved the expansion plan. They're authorizing 5 more shipyards like this one around Earth. They're calling us the repair hub of the sector." "Better triple our coffee order," Tom joked, but his chest swelled with pride. Earth had found its place in the galactic community not through advanced technology or powerful weapons, but through the simple human traits of ingenuity, practical thinking, and the determination to fix what others said couldn't be fixed. Whitecore moved to the window, its crystalline form reflecting the sunlight. "You humans have taught us something valuable. Sometimes the most advanced civilizations can forget the basics. You reminded us that understanding the fundamentals is just as important as having advanced technology." Tom walked over to join his alien friend at the window. Below them, human mechanics and alien engineers worked side by side, sharing knowledge, solving problems, and building a future neither species could have achieved alone. "You know what I always say," Tom smiled, watching as another Commonwealth ship appeared in the distance, heading their way for repairs. "Everything that's built can be fixed, and everything that moves can be improved. Sometimes you just need to look at it with fresh eyes." The Arizona shipyards hummed with activity as Earth continued to make its mark on the galaxy, one repair job at a time. It wasn't the legacy anyone had expected for humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization, but it was one that would last for generations to come.